Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Fortitude. So today I wanted to go over this game called Toy Battle. So I believe this came out in 2025 and this is a two-player duel. So you can only play with two players, and in person I've played this in person with Janie, and it usually takes like 10 minutes or less per game. And if you look at it on Board Games Arena, then each game can be done within 4 minutes. And sometimes I've even had games that are over in 1 minute. So that is a very fast time for a game to be played, and the only reason that I'm sharing it is because there is a lot of strategic depth and enjoyment that I've gotten from this game. So I wanted to share that. If you haven't explored this, go check it out. Now, it again, one of the things that I wanted to point out is it's a short game, so there is a high level of luck involved, but overall, like with in high elo plays, like you can mitigate that luck to a big extent, but in some cases it's just unavoidable. Like one of the player will just have a bigger advantage over the others, and as long as you accept it and are comfortable with that, I think there's a lot to explore with this game. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on Board Games Arena. I'll quickly walk you through the rules that I've pulled up over here, and then we'll play a game or two. All right, let's do it. So let's do learn. So I've started using this learn feature on Board Games Arena where you can check out the tutorial for some games, and it's been really handy. All right, so let's do that. Let's play the tutorial and we'll just kind of walk through it. All right, so this is one of the maps. Actually, let's just follow the tutorial. Okay. So in Toy Battle, two players will take turns placing troops on a quirky battlefield. So this is one of the reasons I love this game so much. The art is like so cartoonish and almost like playing like a video game. The first player to place a troop on their opponent's headquarters wins. Alternately, the first player to reach the required number of medals wins the game. All right, so that should be pretty clear. There's two win conditions, two ways to win the game. This is your home base. So if I'm blue player, this is my headquarters and this is my opponent's headquarters, red. So one of the ways to win is if I make a connection all the way to my opponent's headquarters. And the way that works is like if I place a tile on this space, I cannot place a tile here. I need to have a connection. So I'll have to go through like this. And once I complete my connection, and if I place a tile on my opponent's headquarters, like I win the game. Now there are tiles. There is one tile that kind of breaks that rule. You can place it anywhere on the map, but we'll come to that in a second. The other way to win the game is if you win the required number of medals for that map. So for example, for this map, I believe this is the castle map, you need 7 medals to win the game. So how do you collect medals? You collect medals by occupying or surrounding that medal region with your troops. So if I do this, I'll get these 3 medals. If I occupy this space, I will get these 2 medals, so on and so forth. These medals are one time. So if my opponent gets them before me, then this space is empty. Then even if I complete this region, I will not get anything. That's why it's kind of like a very push and pull, very dynamic game, because you're trying to rush, trying to get in a better position than your opponent. And there's a huge factor of hand management that comes into the game. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so each player has a rack of troops next to the main board. Our opponent is at the top and ours is at the bottom. As the first player, we start with 3 troops and our opponent has 4. All right. On your turn, you can perform one of the following actions. So you can draw 2 troops. So that's that option right here. Or you can place a troop. So I can choose one of these 3 troops and place it on the board. So let's start with the first option, draw 2 troops. So let's click on that. All right. So we drew 2 troops from our reserve and placed them on our rack, which can hold up to 8 troops at a time. That's important. 8 is your capacity. So anytime this exceeds 8, or even if you're at 7 and you do the draw 2 troops, you'll only be able to draw +1. And if you're at 8, then just don't take that action because you'll be drawing 0 troops, so that's pointless. All right, so as you can see, there are 15 troops left in the reserve. Now our opponent will take their turn. So they do the same thing. Now, before we take our next turn, let's take a closer look at our troops. Each one has a number above it, indicating its strength. So most troops have a special effect icon in the bottom right corner that we can trigger when the troop is played. If you hover over the troop, you can read what the effect is. All right, so this is an important part of the game. So let's begin with Scully. So Scully is strength 1. Actually, here, let me do this. Let me switch to the official rulebook where I can show you a breakdown of how a troop is designed, and then we'll come back here. Okay, so this is the official rulebook that I've pulled up. Again, like, it's such a small game. Like, honestly, I just want to give a big kudos to the designers because it's just a really well designed game. Like, I'm amazed. Okay, so this is how a troop is built. So the top number that you see is just strength, and the bottom right icon that you see is the effect. So there are 8 type of troops in the game, and each troop has a different effect. And the way placing the troop works is you can only place a strength higher than the one that's already occupying the board. So for example, if I want to place this 4, I can only place it on a 0, 1, 2, or 3. I cannot place it on another 4. I cannot place it on another 5, 6, 7. Right, so hope that's clear. Let's get back to the rules. So the effect for Scully, let me just do this. Let me walk through the entire rule set, and then I'll give you a quick summary of what all the special powers are. Right, so Scully is pathetically weak, but its effect lets us draw another 2 troops. That's funny, pathetically weak. This sounds pretty good to me. Select Scully. All right, so let's select Scully, and now they're telling us where to put it. So we can put it on the left, the left or the right of our headquarters. So let's place it on the right, like they're saying. So Scully's effect is, it basically lets you draw 2 more troops from your reserve. So I'm going to use that effect right away. Great. So our opponent has placed a star, and what star does is it's a high strength, but you can draw 1 troop from your reserve. So it's similar to Scully, but it's like instead of drawing 2, you draw 1. Okay, so next turn, now we have drawn 3 unicorn troops, all of whom are named star. So let's place one of them. So let's choose this. So again, we can place on any base from which we can place a continuous line of the occupied bases back to our headquarters. So thanks to the troop we placed last turn, Scully, that line reaches further now. So let's place star over here. And we'll use star's ability, that is to draw a troop. All right. So our opponent places the captain. Its special ability lets them immediately place another troop. So captain is one of the strongest troops in the game. Actually, let me go through the powers later on. I like Jumbo even more than Captain. And I've played a lot of Toy Battle. Okay. So our opponent does that combo, 2 and a 5. So they placed an XP on the board. XP is kind of like stealing your troop. So what they do is, not stealing, but you get to randomly choose one of the troops on your opponent's racks and discard it. And once a troop is discarded, there's no way to bring it back. It's out of the game. So they picked a star. Again, they cannot see which troop they are picking. It's random, but I lost a star, and this is visible. So anytime there's a discard, like both players can view each other's discards. Okay. Oh, and this is an important rule. There are 3 of each kind of troop in our reserve, but 4 random troops were removed at the beginning of the game. So that is an important distinction we need to remember. So there are 8 type of troops total. We'll come to that. So Quack is strength 0, so ranging from strength 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are all the strengths. Each of these kind has 3 troops in the game. So what is that? 24. Let me go here. Let's just look at this, the official breakdown. Contents. Okay, so they have 48 troops total because you have different colors. So did I lose it? Yeah. So basically 0 to strength 7. right? So there's 8 type of troops. Each troop has 3 types, so you have 24 total troops in one color. So there's 24 in red and 24 in blue, exactly the same type of troops. However, at the beginning of a game, 4 troops are removed at random, so you don't know which 4 are removed. And then the reserve is shuffled for both the players. So basically, when you set up the game, like you might have completely different troops, starting troops than your opponent, and your draw pile might be completely different. All right. And then let's proceed. So our troops are close enough to start fighting now. So in toy battle, combat is simulated by placing troops on top of each other. We can only place a troop on top of an enemy troop if ours has more strength, a higher number. Okay. So we can place. So here's the thing, like higher number or a quack. Quack has no effect, but it's a joker. Well, that's technically kind of its effect. Like it can go on top of any troop. So I could place a quack on top, or I could place a star. They want us to place the star, so let's do that. So we can place it over there. And then, so when you place a troop on top of your opponent, like the troop below is not removed. You can still see it. And the reason is because if you place troops like Jumbo, they allow you to discard adjacent enemy troops. So in that case, if my opponent played a Jumbo over here, they would be able to discard my number 6 star over here and complete their connection. So we draw another troop. Oh, by the way, we can also place troops on top of our own troops if we want. In that case, we don't have to worry about strength requirements. You probably won't want to do that often though. In some games, you might have to do that often. But hey, that's part of more complex strategy. So our opponent placed a quack. So now we can remove it using Jumbo. Sure. So they want us to play the Jumbo too. And so this is a special base. Okay, so here's the thing. The reason this game is so unique is because it comes with 8 types of maps. So the map that we are playing, Castle Field, is the starting map, but there's 7 other type of maps to explore, and each map has a unique effect. So the effect that Castle Field has is you see these 4 spots on the map. Anytime you place a troop on it, you get to use that special effect. So in this case, the special effect is you may choose one of your other troops, no matter where it is on the terrain, and place it back on your rack. So if I placed a troop here, I could pick up one of my other blue troops anywhere on the map that's visible. It cannot be under an enemy troop. It has to be on top. And I can put it back in my rack. I cannot choose the troop I just placed on this special base. That's the exception. It has to be another troop. Okay, so they want us to place our Jumbo over there. Let's select that. So as soon as you place a troop on the special base, you first trigger the troop's effect and then you trigger the special base effect. Right, so I'll use Jumbo's effect and remove the duck. So I completed this region, and it also allows us to get a troop back. So they're asking us to recover Scully, so we'll do that. Let's recover Scully, or I can also pass. That's true. Yeah, if I don't want to recover any troop, because it'll break your connection. If I take my Scully, then I no longer have a connection to my star over here. I'll have to make this connection happen. So I'll just go ahead and pass. So the medal disappeared because we collected it. So on this left side, you see this counter. So it's basically a race. It's either a race to your opponent's base, or it's a race to collect the required number of medals for that map to win the game. So you have to win the race one way or the other. All right, so we need 7 medals to win the game. So I'm just kind of speeding through this. If you guys want, you can pause the video and go through it. But we'll also play a few games so it'll make sense. Everything will come together. Okay, if you find yourself evenly matched with an opponent and neither of you are able to win, eventually one player will be unable to take a turn. In that case, the game will end and whoever has more medals will win. So that's the tiebreaker. Okay, that's everything. After you have played a game or two on this board, Castle Field, I strongly suggest toggling a different board in the lobby options. Again, each one features a different kind of special base, enabling unique strategies. All right, so thank you for playing this tutorial for Toy Battle, and special thank you to Nikon Yancer for this tutorial, and to the game designers Paolo Mori and Alessandro Zucchini for designing this game. All right, so let's get into it. I'll give this a 5-star. Actually, before we begin, let me go through this rules section one more time. So yeah, so they're basically showing the same thing that we read. Again, you can pause the video if you would like to read this in more detail. I'm just kind of going to scroll through it. We already went through it in the video. These are the 8 different type of maps. And this number, every map has, some of them have similar amount of medals, but some have more, like some have 6 or 8 medals that you need to win that map. And then look at this art. The art is so fun in this game. And then coming down over here, so they kind of show you how to set up the game. And then the trope anatomy, how that is structured, the actions, and then finally the placement rules, how that works. All right, and now to the most important and fun part of the game, that is the player aid. So what is happening with all these troops? So let's start with Quack. So Quack is a wild card, it's a joker. So Quack has no effect. As a joker, Quack may be placed on top of any enemy troop, but any enemy troop may also cover it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like you could place a Quack on the highest numbered troop, that is Roxy, but then a Scully could occupy your Quack. So you have to be ready for it. You'll never see me coming, okay? The next troop is Scully, so we saw that in action, so it's a strength 1. Get ready for invasion. You may draw 2 troops from your reserve and place them on your rack. Note, if you already have 7 troops on your rack, you draw only 1, okay? The next one is Captain, so this is a number 2 strength. You there with me. You may place 1 extra troop on the terrain and apply its effects. First, apply all the effects of troops you just placed, then apply any special base effects. So it's basically letting you take an extra turn in terms of placing troops. And this stacks, so if you have like 2 or 3 captains in your, in your deck, you can play them back to back. Like this is one of the easiest ways to win games, especially against like beginner or like weaker players who are new to the game, because they might not see a captain coming. You can kind of sneak into your enemy base with a captain. All right, Jumbo. So Jumbo is number 3. We also saw Jumbo in action, but basically you may choose 1 visible enemy troop adjacent to Jumbo and discard it face up. Troops are adjacent if they are connected by a single section of path. And the slogan for Jumbo is bit of advice, keep your distance. All right, so Jumbo is one of my favorite troops because it has like absolutely won me so many games. Like it's very strategic. You always want to have Jumbo in every single map. But I mean, we'll go through the gameplay. So every troop has a role. Jumbos just can do a lot. Hook is number 4. So this is a special troop. So specialty is jump straight across enemy lines. So you may ignore the connection rule and place Hook on any base, whether or not it is connected to your headquarters. To place Hook on the enemy headquarters, which is not a base, it must be connected to your headquarters. Okay, so that makes sense. And when they say you can place it anywhere, it still needs to follow the rules of the game. So it has to go on a troop that's weaker in strength than 4. That's the only way you can place it. Okay, XP. So my blasters always hit their mark. You may take at random 1 troop from your opponent's rack and discard it face up. All right, so that is fun. Star. So star is you may draw 1 troop from your reserve and place it on your rack. And the slogan is who's with me. So star is like a nice fun unicorn that has a pretty important role too. And then Roxy has no effect. It's my base. Well, Roxy is strength 7, so it's the highest strength troop in the game. The only way to remove a Roxy is either by using a Jumbo, or you can place a Quack on top of the Roxy. So only 2 tiles counter Roxy. All right. Terrain descriptions. So we went through some of this. Again, I'll just you can just pause the video, kind of review this. I won't go into too much detail because I don't know what map we'll get. I usually just random it, and then two more, um, two special maps that have no special effects per se, but they have like special placement restrictions. Right, so that was the rules. Let's get into a game and see how it goes. So I am going to play arena mode. I've just found it to be the fastest way to get a game lately, so we'll just do that. Right, let's see how long it takes. While we are waiting, I can actually show you guys real quick the maps. So Castlefield, we already went through it. The special effect is you may choose one of your troops, no matter where it is on the terrain, and place it back on your rack. City of Clouds is another map. In this one, the special effect is anytime you place a troop on the special base, you can draw one troop from your reserve. So it's basically giving you the effect of a star, but on the special base. And one of the strategies for City of Clouds map is you want to start putting your number four's hook on these spots, so that way you are um, improving your connections, but at the same time you're also drawing troops, so that's pretty nice. All right, Volcanic Jungle. This is a very interesting map. This is hard to explain, but basically, okay, we got a game. Let's go. Let's see what map we get. All right, so this is one of the special maps that I told you with placement restrictions. So all of these don't have any special rule. The thing is, this middle area right here, no troop supply over there, no troop effect supply over there. So it's basically a matter of the higher number wins, kind of. All right, so I usually like to just draw more. Okay, so two captains, but remember, if I place a captain here, it doesn't have any special effect. So I'm at 7 right now. One of the ways to get better at this game is you always need to keep track of how many do you have in hand, how many are there in your reserve, how close are you to that 8. 8 is the golden number. So I'm at 7 right now. So I'm going to place an XP. I'm going to discard an opponent's troop at random. And now I'm at 6. So next turn I'm going to draw 2 more troops. That'll bring me to 8. Okay, so my opponent discards my Roxy. I don't like that. Roxy is pretty important for this map. So I'm just building connections. I have 2 jumbos, so I do like that. Jumbos have a crucial role in this map because anytime an opponent places a big number in the middle, I'm going to try to use my jumbo to remove that. So I'm at 6, like I said. Let's get back to 8. Okay, so we got a Scully. We have 3 jumbos. So that's the first jumbo in play. So here's the thing. Now I could place a captain over here, and I could place, say, something. I could place my star over here. But then my opponent could just place their jumbo over here and remove this guy. I mean, remove my star, and they'll have this connection going. So I am not going to do that. I am instead going to place one of my jumbos and just remove this troop. And that kind of sets me up to play my Scully. So that way I'll again get back to 8. This is a very interesting map, and I mean this is not my favorite map because it really comes down to who controls the center region. Because if you look at the rules for this game, you need 7 stars to win the game. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have to occupy your side here. So 6, 7. So the first person basically so these stars are guaranteed. Like you should be easily able to capture these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next 2 stars is a challenge. So to do that, I would need to occupy either this region or this region or this region or something like that. It's really hard to get into your opponent's zone on this map. It does happen, but it's usually an oversight or if your opponent missed something. Okay, looks like my opponent is offline. We'll just wait for them to come back. So yeah, basically my thinking here is regardless of what move my opponent plays, unless they put something in the middle, then I'll have to think through it. But I want to place my Scully over here and get to two troops, get to the number 8, and then I can, like, this center square connects to all three of these. So anytime my opponent puts a troop there, I can put a jumbo and take it out. So that is my strategy. Let's see what happens. Also, I don't know if we'll get to complete this game. I think my opponent is gone. All right, I'm just going to skip their turn. We'll queue for one more game, see if that happens. But I hope that made sense, the strategy that I was describing. Like, each map has a different unique twist to it and a different way you should be playing it. So yeah, there's a lot of uniqueness to this game. All right, let's play one more game, and I think then I'll stop. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is another special map. What is this one called? This one is called Battlefield. All right. So this is interesting because anytime you put a troop on these special bases, you can point to one troop on your opponent's rack without looking at it. And basically, your opponent cannot use it on their immediate turn, but they can on like the subsequent turns. So I'll show you what that means in a second. So my opponent played that move. I am gonna put a Scully down. I'm really hoping to get a captain, which we did not get. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping to get a captain. Because what my opponent might do is they might just put a Roxy on my number 5, and Roxy is number 7. So the only way for me to defend that would be, okay, so they actually did not do that, which is all right with me. Which is all right with me. Okay, so there's my captain now. Okay. So you need 8 stars to win this map. Okay, so that is what I was expecting, like I had said earlier. So how do we want to counter that? I could just place my jumbo, but then if my opponent has another, if my opponent is holding on to another um captain, then I'm in trouble then. But that's okay. I'm gonna deflect this. Yeah, so it should be fine, I guess. We just think through this. I'm at 6. I definitely want to break this connection. So let's do it like this. We'll do it here. We'll go ahead and remove you. And then, so I targeted that troop so my opponent cannot use it right away. Then I can use my other jumbo to remove this guy. So I get those 3 stars. But now my opponent has caught up with tempo. So if you see, they're at 4 and I'm also at 4. Ideally, you want to be one like ahead of your opponent in terms of tempo. So right now I am not. So what we can do here is my opponent could try to go for this middle base, which would be annoying. Let me just think this through. think we have to draw here. Even if they capture the 2 stars, like I still just need that tempo boost from them. So here's what we'll do. Just go ahead and place a troop here. So I discard this guy and then I stop them from using this guy. That's pretty nice. So 8. So I need actually gonna go ahead and place a Roxy here, I think, because if they get a jumbo, they can place the jumbo here and complete this region. So I don't want that to happen. So they could still do that right now, but it's okay. We just have to draw at this point. I'm assuming, yep, that's what they did. So they are 2 away from winning. We still need 1, 2, 3, 4. So these last 2 are crucial for us. So my opponent is very close to winning the game here. How do I stop them? I do not know yet. I can start blocking them like this, just throwing out my number 4s, my hooks. They can obviously do that. I can still do it. I can still keep annoying them. Any way for me to disrupt this? Not right now. Okay, so they win the game. So you see, Jumbo kind of just helped them complete that connection. So that was it. That was game. We lost this one, but hey, you win some, you lose some. Let's see. Let's play one final game, then I'll be done. But yeah, that's an interesting match. Okay, here we go. Right away. Refresh. All right, so yeah, we finally get to see the castle map in play, and I highly recommend this. If you're new to the game, just play on castle. You don't have to touch any of the other maps. This is a lot of fun. I would like to draw 2 troops here. And I was like really hoping for some jumbos, but no jumbos. Okay, I'll guess complete this connection. Okay, finally got a jumbo. Now this is a dangerous situation because if my opponent has 2 captains, we just lose the game. Doesn't. Oh man, the 1 troop I wanted. Take the 1 troop I like. Okay, okay. I've used up two of my captains. I should go ahead and um put a Roxy there to block them. I really need jumbos. I'm just not getting jumbos. I think that is super unfortunate. You finally got a jumbo. So my opponent has more tempo than me, but if I'm able to end my turns before them, I'll just win because I'm 2 stars away from winning outright. That is fine. I think we just win the game unless I'm missing something. We go over there, we can recover a troop, which I don't think I want to recover anything because I want to keep the tempo on my opponent. Like this is reverse tempo. I have one troop, my opponent has 6, but at the same time, I can easily end the game. Okay, so I just win the game by default because I have more stars than them, so I have no actions to take. So I just win the game. But yeah, castle map is a fun, interesting map, so definitely check it out. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope you all enjoyed this game. Definitely go give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. And it's really quick. Like even if you play it in person, if you buy the game, like you can play a game in like 10-15 minutes. And on BGA, you already saw like it plays in less than 5 minutes. So yeah, great little strategy game. Definitely check it out. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.